Before we bring the aliens on board, we need to take care of our start function. So we'll click the start button and now it should disappear. We already have our checking to see if game over, and by default game over is true. So that means the game's not in play. So let's do that as our first check, and checking to see if player game over is true. And if it is, then we know we can start our game because right now the game's not in play essentially. So what we want to do is we want to take that game over, and instead of it being true, let's set it to false so that we can't keep restarting until we want the player to be able to restart. Selecting our button start object, we're going to apply a style to it. So we're not adding a class. We could also add in a class, so I just want to provide a little bit of variety of how to do this. So this is actually updating its style properties. As well, we could have added in the class of hide, and that would hide it and do the same effect. We need to also make sure that our player settings, so we've got one for alien speed, so just make sure that's at 5. And if you are adjusting any of the player parameters, make sure you readjust them to the defaults at this stage. So we're ready to set up the aliens, and let's try out the start function. So now we click it, and all we really see happening is that the start option disappears and we can move. So the next thing we want to do, and that is to create our aliens. So let's create a function. We can call it setup aliens. And then we're going to pass in how many aliens we want to set up. So make it completely dynamic and flexible in the numbers. So creating a function in order to handle that is going to make things a whole lot easier, and a whole lot easier to create the aliens. And we're going to probably need a few functions that we can break apart. So it gives us more control. So we've got the one that we've got the setup aliens. We're passing in a number, and this is how many aliens we want to create. So again, we want to make this really dynamic and where we're going to be setting up the aliens. So let's set up and let's calculate, have a few calculations. So using that container dim again, we've got a dynamic width for that, so that can be changing at any time. So we'll subtract off of it 200 so that we're not setting the aliens right over on the right hand side. So they're going to be more tuned to be on the left hand side, and at max they're going to hit the 200 pick mark off the right hand column. Also, let's set up an object, and we can set up a row object. So this is where we're going to position the aliens. So we can pass in the X and Y object values. And for this one, we can take that last column value and use that. So what we also want to do is we want to find a modulus for the last column. So we've got our last column, and using this, we can get a modulus number for that. And then what we want to do is divide it by 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to constantly adjust these values as we add more aliens. So basically they're going to all stack across the top. And we'll also adjust the Y value as we loop through and create more aliens. Let's also set up a temporary width for the aliens. So by default, we can set it at 100. And so this also makes it more dynamic, and we can adjust the width of the aliens that we're creating. So we're actually ready to set up the different rows of them. So let's create a loop. And this is just a regular for loop where we're looping through the number that we passed in. And this is the number of aliens. So in here we have to have the function that's actually going to create the aliens. And we'll create one more function that's going to be the alien maker. We'll pass in the row object information as well as our temp width value, so that again this is going to be fluctuating as we loop through. So we also need to set up a function to handle that, and this is going to be our alien maker function. So it's going to get in 2 parameters. It's going to get the row, and we can just call it the same just to avoid confusion, and save that. And for now it's not going to do anything. So we start the game and we don't see anything happening quite yet. So just making sure that all of the functions are working. So what we want to do is we want to take our row X value and add to it the temporary width. And as we loop through, that will increase those values of where the aliens are located. And we also need to account for the y value. So this is going to be a little bit trickier than the row value. So we can take the value of row and we can check to see if it's larger than our last column value minus temp width. So basically, that's going to mean that we can't make any more aliens on the current row, so we need to take our row y value and add, let's say 70 to it, and then take our row x value and equal that to whatever our starting position was. And this was our original starting position of where the alien is going to be located. So that's the row x value, row y value that we're resetting. And I'm also going to move the maker down so that we can check to see, and we can do the update of the positioning before we make the alien. So we're passing this value in, and for now you can see the row value that's getting passed in. So we hit start game, you can see the value of row, and first x is going to be at 3, second one is at 100, the next one is at 203, and then we're adding 70 to the y position. So we're increasing the y position by 70. So this is going to create them at 3, 100, and y is going to be 70. And this should be before. So that's actually adding it to. And once again, it's just double check. So this time it's 50 and 120 for the y position. So it looks like we're ready to start adding our aliens. So we can make this fully dynamic. So the aliens are going to be created on the fly using JavaScript, and that's going to come up in the next lesson. So go ahead and add in the calculation in order to set up the aliens, and make sure that we're passing in the right x and y coordinates, because this is where we're going to be positioning the aliens as we construct them. So that's all still to come in the next lesson.